My name is Mike, and this year I turned 40. I work at a small factory in town just a short distance from my home, where we manufacture auto parts, mainly car lights. My job is to supervise the temporary workers on the assembly line and ensure we meet our production deadlines. One worker in particular has been troubling me lately, and that's Emily Smith, who recently joined the team. It's not that she has any issues with her work. Her performance is fine. But there's something about her that's been weighing on my mind. Emily, no lunch again today. I asked her during our lunch break. She was sitting alone in the corner of the cafeteria, looking up at me with an awkward expression. Yeah, I didn't have time to buy any, she replied. You can leave the factory to buy some food if you need to, I told her. It's better than not eating at all. Wouldn't that be against the company's rules? She asked. It can't be helped. If you don't eat properly, it'll affect your work in the afternoon too. I'm sorry, but I don't have the money to buy food. She said it so matter-of-factly that it took me a moment to process. Emily was making between $1,800 to $2,000 a month, including overtime, which isn't much, but it's enough to get by. Plus, she lives with her parents, so she should have some money to spend. Are you managing your money properly? I asked, my concern growing. And Emily, you should take more care with your appearance. She looked down as I spoke. Emily had just graduated from high school, but she was often unkempt. Although she seemed to bathe, her company uniform was dirty and worn out, and there were complaints from other temp workers about her odor. I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to use the washing machine at home. That can't be true. Everyone's getting upset, so please come properly dressed from tomorrow. Yes, she nodded weakly, but at that time, I didn't realize just how bad her situation was. I just thought these young people nowadays really lacked discipline. That night, after finishing work and returning home, I complained to my wife, Susan, over dinner about Emily again. She doesn't bring lunch, she's careless with money, and on top of that, not washing her clothes is just the worst. Don't you think? Oh, that topic again. Susan's expression clouded. I've been venting about Emily quite a bit lately, and she was probably tired of hearing it. But her reaction surprised me. Maybe Emily is being mistreated by her parents, she suggested. What do you mean? I asked, taken aback. I've been hearing some rumors in the neighborhood, and it got me thinking, Susan explained. She then told me about a recent rumor that had been circulating. A family that had moved into a public housing complex was neglecting their daughter. The family's last name was Smith. Could it be? I started. It seems the girl is her father's stepchild, and the family treats her coldly. Can you keep an eye on her for a while? I was stunned by Susan's words, but it made sense. If Emily's parents were taking all the money she earned, it would explain why she never had lunch or any money. The thought of it made me feel sick. However, I was about to witness something even more shocking. It happened over the weekend while I was shopping at the supermarket with my wife, Susan. Coincidentally, I saw Emily. Come on, hurry up and walk, a little boy shouted. Stop it, Kevin. Emily was being hit by him, not hard, but more like playful punches around her waist, although it was clear she didn't like it. Standing nearby were a man and a woman who looked like her parents, laughing loudly as they watched. Look, that's Emily, the girl you were talking about, Susan whispered. There was no doubt it was her. Excuse me, I'll go over there for a moment, I said to Susan. Wait, Mike, she called after me, but I was already approaching Emily. Hey, what are you doing, old man? Kevin sneered as I grabbed his arm, stopping him from hitting Emily again. She looked up at me, trembling with a frightened gaze. Hey there, Emily. What a coincidence meeting you here. Shopping with your family, huh? I said, trying to sound casual. Yes, that's right, she mumbled, her eyes filled with fear as she glanced towards her parents, who were watching me with suspicion. Are you Emily's parents? I asked, trying to keep things polite. I've always been grateful for her help at the factory. I'm Mike, the factory manager. Oh, is that so? Her father responded, eyeing me suspiciously. Then, out of nowhere, he asked, about Emily's salary, can it be raised a bit? She even does overtime but doesn't bring in much money. Can something be done about that? Her mother chimed in aggressively, yeah, right? We're letting you use our daughter, so pay her more. Let go, you old jerk. Kevin, who she called her brother, tried to yank his arm free from my grip. I released him, and he ran back to his parents, shouting, Dad, beat up that old jerk. Kevin, not here. We'll deal with it later. His father laughed loudly, amused by his son's outburst. What's with these people? Susan murmured beside me, tugging at my clothes. It was a signal to step away from the situation. Well, we'll be going then. See you at work, Emily, I said, starting to walk away. Yeah, and think about that pay raise, her father shouted after me, while Kevin hurled one last insult. Just wait, you old jerk. Ignoring them, we walked away from the Smith family. As we left, I noticed Emily watching us with a longing gaze. The next day at work, Emily approached me. Mike, thank you for yesterday. No, I didn't realize what you were going through. I'm sorry for any thoughtless things I've said before, I said, feeling a deep sense of regret. No, it's embarrassing, but I couldn't do anything about it, she said, her voice trembling as she began to share her circumstances. She explained how, after her parents divorced, she was taken in by her father and had been burdened with household chores ever since. There were times she couldn't go to school, and after middle school, she worked part-time while attending a night high school with her father's permission. At that time, she was allowed to manage her own earnings and lived relatively freely, but everything changed after her father remarried. Her stepmother disliked her and treated her coldly, teaching Kevin, her stepbrother, to treat Emily like a servant. Her father never reprimanded his new wife. Instead, they demanded she pay back for being raised by taking all her earnings from her part-time jobs. Her clothes and personal belongings were thrown away by her stepmother, and she was even restricted from bathing and washing her clothes. That's why I couldn't wash my uniform freely, and it got all tattered. I'm really sorry, she concluded, her voice filled with shame. I was speechless, overwhelmed by her situation, which was far worse than I could have imagined. Despite everything, I admired her strength for enduring it alone, but I also felt deeply sorry for her. Then I handed her something. Here, eat this if you'd like. What is this? She asked, looking at the package I handed her with a confused expression. My wife made this packed lunch especially for you. She really wants you to have it. Just give me back the empty box when you're done, no rush. Wow, your wife made this homemade lunch for me? I'm so touched. Tears welled up in her eyes as she tried to hold them back. Thank you so much, even though I've been such a burden. It's okay. Also, could you hand me your uniform over the weekend? My wife is eager to wash it for you. Are you sure? To do so much for me? She responded, her voice trembling with emotion. That's all we can do for you. And remember, if you ever want to leave your current situation, you can always talk to us. Thank you, but what would my family say if I accepted help? Tears streamed down her face as she tried to hold them back. It's okay. I know someone who's an expert in these matters. We can definitely help you, I reassured her, gently holding her shoulders. Sobbing, she finally expressed her feelings. I don't want to live in that house anymore. I want to have a normal life like everyone else. Please help me. Her pain, borne in silence for so long, resonated deeply with me. That night, the front of my house became a bit of a battleground. Hey, where did you take Emily? Bring her out. Emily's father was banging on our door, yelling furiously. Inside, Susan looked at me anxiously. Are we okay? She asked, her voice trembling. We're fine, I reassured her, holding her shoulder gently. Besides, if we engage with him, our house will turn into a mess. Emily wasn't even here to begin with, but it was a hassle that her father showed up like this. For now, I've called the police, just like you said, Susan whispered, holding her phone. Good, that's the right move, I said, smiling at her as I took the phone and dialed another number. Soon after, the police arrived and took Emily's parents away. Phew, that was scary. I'm sorry for causing this. Emily's apologetic voice came through the phone. No, it's okay. Did you manage to get to the station all right? I asked gently. Yes, I'm on my way to the place you told me about, Emily replied, sounding relieved. I had helped her run away from home. The reason her parents came to my house was because I advised her to leave a note implying she was heading here. I thought it would buy her some time to escape. But are you sure I'll be accepted? She asked, her voice filled with anxiety. Don't worry. Helping kids oppressed by their parents is what they do, I reassured her. Thank you so much. Her voice trembled, and I could sense her near tears even over the phone. I've done what I can. Now it's up to you. You have to carve out your own life. Are you okay with that? Yes, I'll be fine, she said, determination in her voice. You've endured your family's unreasonable treatment for so long. I'm sure you'll be okay no matter what difficulties you face. Yes. Oh, I've arrived. I'm going to hang up now. All right, take care. Thank you for everything, Mike. With those words, the call ended. I gently moved the phone away from my ear and smiled kindly at Susan beside me. She'll be fine. She's brave enough to ask for help. Susan smiled back and gently held my hand. Later, I heard that the organization had reported Emily's parents to the police, and they were being investigated. Her stepbrother Kevin was taken in by his father. The next day, when the employees wondered about Emily's absence, I simply said she had moved. Years passed in the blink of an eye. Look, Mike, we've got a Christmas card from Emily. Really? I exclaimed as Susan handed me the card. In it, Emily was posing with her husband, holding a cute baby in her arms. All three of them were smiling happily. She says the baby girl was born healthy last year. We need to send a gift, Susan said, smiling. Emily had successfully severed ties with her parents and started a new family after our intervention. We still catch up over the phone every few months. She's now a mother, and I'm sure she's going to be a great one. I agree, I said as we smiled at each other, looking at the Christmas card. Though Emily had endured tough times, she was now happily living with her new family. I'm glad I listened to her plea for help back then, and I'm profoundly grateful to Susan for her support. Watching her smile, I thought to myself, I truly wish from the bottom of my heart that Emily continues to lead a happy life,